Action.
Take one. Welcome back, everybody, and to another great Off the Radio show. You said 780...
I forget.
781?
784.
784 shows, everybody, and I know there's one of you that's seen every one of them, and thank you.
Pete Madden.
Pete Madden, that's right. Our number one fan, probably driving a truck.
It's somewhere in Michigan.
Is it snowing in Michigan right now?
Probably.
Pete, give us the weather report. We're back with the doc, Neil.
Yeah, the docks is, well, this is probably the docks. I'm going to say sixth or seventh appearance.
Seventh time.
About that. You used to start off very formal with a nice tweed jacket with a tie.
Decked out. Stethoscope
Right?
tucked in.
We looked like crap. So you remember when he came, remember when we got ties?
We did wear ties one night. We did.
Showed up without a tie.
I know. We wore ties. I had to borrow a tie.
Yeah.
And you showed up with not a tie that night.
Yeah.
So before we actually announce who our guest is, you called me and said the doc's coming back.
Because I didn't know.
Big news.
He just was here like a couple months ago.
You actually quote.
I said
breaking news.
Big breaking news.
Yeah.
Actually, he does.
No, he does, and I agree.
And so tonight we're trying to talk about resisting the blast.
Yeah, and
how do you say it in America? Blast.
Blast.
Okay.
Yeah, you go blast, right?
Blast.
You have to put a U in it.
Resisting the blast.
Europeans do weird
Which
stuff
is
like
a very
that.
important topic, right, Doug?
Indeed. Protect your
This
ears.
is something that...
So can we introduce the doc?
Yeah, right here.
Dr. Hetzler's back. Everybody at home, all of our guests tonight. Thank you, everybody. You can sit down now. Dr. Hetzler's back in the house. And hopefully you can hear well, no pun intended.
Yes. But keep the volume... I gotta keep the volume down nowadays. You know, what do you think kids would think it's cool to have the volume down? I think everyone wants the volume up. Do you think kids will eventually think it's cool to have the volume down?
You're the softest.
Are you trying to form some kind of coolness?
Sure. Let's make it cool to be protecting your ears.
It sounds romantic, but I don't know if kids are romantic. So that's a good question. Have them bring the lights down and the sound
down.
Mm-hmm. You never know.
Right? Some little ambiance.
Comment if you might like it.
Ambiance is good.
Well, we had ladders here last week.
Speaking of loud noise, yes.
Yeah, we had ladders on the show. Santa Cruz, younger 20-somethings that play in a loud band. Your ears, how long did your ears ring for? At least 24 hours. 2 days for me.
2 days, yeah. And it's still ringing.
We're prime candidates for your campaign.
Yeah.
Literally 2 days of ear ringing.
All right.
And that's what we're going to segue straight to.
We're segueing into the doctor who called me and said he wants to come back on the show to talk about resisting the blast. Mm-hmm. We thought he was going to retire. But no, ladies and gentlemen, he is not retiring.
Don't start spreading that rumor.
He is an N-O-T, capital N-O-T, not retiring.
The breaking news is he's going to save people's hearing.
We hope.
That's the plan.
We're trying to.
Okay, doctor, why are you here?
So, the World Health Organization estimates 1 billion, with a B.
That's not a million, that's a billion.
Billion young people are at risk of premature hearing loss because of things like phones and earbuds and amplified music. And when this happens to people, we can't undo it. When people have damaged their ears, when they kill off their ears, we can't recover that. We can't fix it.
Okay.
So if we can kind of get the word out about certain levels that they can dial it down to. So resist the blast, keep it under 95 decibels. That's a starting point. I mean, even lower levels are great. But if people just keep hammering their ears with sound, you know, there's talk now about people in their 20s looking at getting hearing aids because they've had so much hearing loss. That's not right.
It's tough to do because your mates playing, you know, loud music or cars going by with loud or Harley Davidson. I hate those things go by. It's loud. You can't. It's tough to. It's so difficult to police it and avoid it.
Yeah, there's plenty of loud sound in society, but
right.
It's like when you choose to do something that you know is probably going to make some damage.
Right.
So the classic one is the earbuds with phone, crank it up loud. And there's top end on some of these things on the phones with the earbuds is about 114 decibels, so that's just too loud. And that's in the volume of a live rock concert. So if we can get people to dial that stuff down, potentially protect their ears and not be suffering hearing loss in their 20s.
Is there a pitch associated with that? Because I know like power tools have a whine, or is it bass that does damage?
Potentially can be anything across the sound spectrum. I mean, what happens the way our ear is built is the sound comes in, it hits the outer, it's like a coil, and the outer nerves get hit first. Those are the high-pitched nerves. And so we're going to test we've done this before, we're going to test high-pitched hearing here in a little bit.
Testing high-pitched hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we got fans out there.
Okay.
Oh, Sleek, come on in.
Is he locked? So anyway, the loud sound hits the high frequency nerves.
Hang on,
people
hang
use high
on.
frequency
Lee, if you
hearing.
want your ears checked, you got to come back.
Are we rolling or are we
We're
stopped?
rolling. We're
still
keeping on rolling.
We're on a roll. Okay.
Oh, we got a good candidate.
So yeah, it's just what can we do to make people be more sensible about their ears? So given a choice between doing something that's really loud or not, how can you diminish the volume? How can you protect yourself? How do you give your ears a chance?
Right.
I mean, one of the things we talk about is the ears just don't get enough respect. You don't stare at the sun. You don't walk on broken glass with bare feet. You don't go out and rub against poison oak because you know what happens. With ears, it's not as immediate and dramatic. So you don't necessarily feel pain, but you can pay the price and have damage occur very quickly.
And how are you getting out? I mean, are you pushing a rock up the hill here, or how are you getting that out here?
So I've met with the county health department,
Yeah.
Some connections with the county schools, given some talks in some of the schools. I'm working through the Sutter organization. I'm giving a talk at Pacific Coast Otolaryngological Society in 2 days.
Where's that at?
That's going to be in Hawaii, Big
Right.
Island, Hawaii. Hopefully upwind from the volcanoes. But again, it's how do you get to the people that are really suffering the issue or making the choices, and that's the key thing. So how do you find that audience and really get the message through?
Is every concert too loud? Like rock concert in your opinion?
Probably, but I mean, it's also a function of distance. How close
Right.
are you to the speakers? Because
It's better further away.
further away, you're going to be less volume, and that's where we talk about if you want to be able to monitor how loud are you being exposed to. I've talked before. There are these free iPhone apps. This thing NIOSH, NIOSH.
Yeah, I got that. You gave me that on my phone.
Yeah.
NIOSH?
So
Yeah.
TC, instead of spending the expensive seats up there at the mountain winery, you want to get the
cheap seats.
cheap seats way in the
Yeah,
back.
save your ears.
And I guess with this app, it'd be interesting because if you're saying 95 is the number, and you have an app, and you put your phone, and it's 117,
Yeah.
you better put cigarette butts in your ear or something,
Do something.
right?
Yeah, cut down the noise exposure because you're asking for trouble.
And I know cigarette butts work well if you could find them nowadays. It's a little harder.
And
in the
actually,
old days.
we were going to
You're sticking cigarette butts in your ear?
You ever done that?
No, I have not.
I have.
Did you light them too?
Hey, anything
for
else?
burns. Maybe it'll take me able to get the bone out of there. So we're also going to do a little demo about here's standard little earplugs.
Okay.
You can buy these in volume for 11 cents
All right.
a pair.
Here, Neil, we're going to have a lesson, right?
And
Okay, listen here.
You wanna join in?
And some venues will provide these if you ask for them, but it's not that much to just get your own.
You're squishing yours.
Yeah, well, that's the key. You got to squish them, but I'll show you how to do this.
Do you
in a
remember that
second.
guy right there? Lee, you fix his
I'm
ears.
blinded. I can't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Lee's back for a checkup. We're going to
Well,
see.
Did you
10
bring
years
your,
later.
Did you bring your?
Yeah, I got the camera.
You got the
We'll do that
camera.
later.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, we got
no, you get your ears checked.
Because you know what? I bet they're terrible.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great thing to see.
Maybe there's wax.
Okay, so I'm rolling these in my fingers.
Hang on. Okay, how do you do
Yeah,
it?
so the key technique is you want to kind of squish it down. So you start with the thing, you want to squish it down.
Okay.
And then they talk about grabbing your ear from behind to kind of pull the ear canal open a little bit. So you've got it squished down, push it in there as far as you can,
Get on camera, TC.
Can I?
push it down, and then you want to hold your finger
First off,
there.
inside my ear's an afro, so that doesn't help. I got more hair in my ear than on my head.
He's pulled more shit out of your ears.
Oh,
than anybody
exactly.
else.
Yeah, no, my ears.
Okay.
My ears are like
So
Pluto.
you squish it down, kind of pull the ear back a little bit so you can open it up.
Okay.
Put it in there,
And then
and
they
then
grow.
let it expand. Kind of hold it there so it can expand down
So do
inside.
the other side, obviously.
And then so we'll squish it down, pull the ear back,
Okay.
push it down inside there. And
Actually,
let it
this
expand and
one
hold it.
on my right ear is actually feeling pretty good right now.
And so that'll
Oh.
expand and kind of fill the space. So
Is
these,
this for surfing or is this for outdoor
this is
use?
for
noise.
sound. This is not for water. This
Okay.
is for sound. And so the idea with these things is if you look at the box when they sell these things, they're usually rated to be a noise reduction of about 30 decibels. When they've done studies on this, if people don't put them in right, they're getting maybe half of that.
Right.
So that's why you got to get
So
it
they
really
putting them in
seal.
right's the key.
Squish it down,
Well,
get it in.
I guess the trick is not have them stick out, because then you know
What?
they're in deep enough and swelled up.
Huh?
What? What?
I notice a definitive reduction in my hearing right now.
You know what? No, you have enough wax in your ears, but you don't need them.
I probably do.
Yeah.
So this should take things down about 30 decibels. And so in most loud environments, that's going to keep you pretty safe.
Okay.
So if
Mr.
you're at
Mayor
concert,
here.
it's 110 and you take it down to
Is
80.
my ear in the camera?
Yeah.
No, the
let me
camera's
tell
over
you
here.
what. Your ear, yep, perfect. Oh,
How's
yeah,
it
it's
looking?
in there.
Looking good?
Uh-huh. That was great.
What?
So anyway, I'm going to take them out so we can converse. But anyway, just so I mean, it seems like a pretty simple thing, but if you don't get them in right, it can be an issue.
Wasting your time.
Yeah, it's not going to work as well.
Going back to that, going to a concert and
Yeah.
and them having supplying these, it seems like it's almost a good investment and for preemptive medical care.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the venues to have that kind of thing available, like, and that's the World Health Organization has this list of recommendations for what venues should do that have amplified music. That's right up there. Provide earplugs, either free or at some nominal cost. Like I said, you can buy these things in bulk for 11 cents a pair.
Wow!
So they can get the cost down quite a bit.
Well, and you just print Google on it.
Yeah,
We're gonna have off-the radio show.
Google,
we're
get on board.
We're gonna have off-the radio show earplugs.
Yeah, we're gonna make those. Make it marketing.
Sure.
They say Aerosmith on them or something.
quit giving us free license plates and give away free earplugs.
That's a good idea. Yeah, way cheaper. I'll tell you that. Yeah, it's a better deal.
But the idea is that, if these are available or out there, so they've done studies in this kind of thing. If you put them out there, people will use them. It's a small percentage. The majority still don't. But if you're going to make, how can you make people aware that, protect your ears, try to save your hearing? That's the only way you're going to do it. You can't go back.
These are one-time use?
You can use them over.
Yeah.
I mean, if they get really dirty, then
they get stuck.
You can use them over and over.
It seems to me like I think of like people who shoot guns, normally taking care of their ears. They get it. Most people who do yard work protect their ears. They get it. Is music the worst offender of ear damage?
I think also in terms of like numbers of people affected, I think it is. Because when you think about the number of people walking around with earbuds, loud music, going to a concert, how many people fill up Levi's or Chase Center? There's thousands of people up there. And I think you don't get those kind of populations doing at the shooting range or at the car races.
Or an industry standard where if you work in a ship's engine room, you wear headsets.
Yeah,
you're not required to wear air protection at a concert.
Right.
Which is louder than that engine in the ship.
Yeah, and I mean, OSHA and NIOSH have all these standards around occupational type hazards. And if you're, I think in the NIOSH scale, if you're above 85 decibels for more than over an 8-hour period of time, the employer is supposed to provide ear protection for people.
So with surface ear surgery, you have something that's actually, viable that you're working on. When people have hearing loss, there's nothing you can do.
No.
So you can just they come in to see you. They can't hear anything.
We can't regenerate the nerves. Birds evidently can regenerate hearing nerves. Humans can't. Birds.
Really?
Yeah. So that's like an animal model they've found. But people cannot regenerate the nerves. You might have, it's like what we call temporary threshold shifts. Your ears get blasted. You come out afterwards. You're kind of ringing. Hearing seems muffled. By the next day, maybe it's a little bit improved. But in that experience, you're killing off some of your reserve.
You're actually going deaf.
You're killing off some of the nerves. And again, most people may not be aware of it, partly because the first changes happen in really high frequencies. And
plus you can turn up the volume in it. You can turn up the volume on your phone. You can turn up your volume on anything. Yeah,
you can make it louder, so you can overcome that.
Right.
But you may be adding to the damage.
But also, we're in this generation where iPods or headsets and amplification through your phone is so loud.
Right. That's why there's like a whole generation coming up right now that's going to have premature hearing loss. That's why, there was an article in the New York Times a couple weeks ago about people in their 20s seeking out hearing aids because they're losing hearing already.
Are we going to be short on ear docs? Because it seems like
we
should be getting more.
But again, it's not the ear doc's role.
There's nothing you can do.
You need people to sell them hearing aids.
Right.
Do their hearing testing.
I guess all you're going to do is tell them you're screwed. You should have wore earplugs.
Yeah, that's why we're trying to go upstream on this problem and try to see if we can anticipate.
So how are you putting it out there? What are you using? Social media? How are you getting it out there?
I mean, what I've been doing is kind of working through the organizations. My sphere of influence is kind of some of these medical organizations, the people I work with. I've met with the Santa Cruz Public Health Department. I've met with the County Board of Education, Department of Education. We're trying to get into the schools, put it in the science classes, the health classes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's more powerful ways, and you guys are more media savvy, probably have better contacts and ways of getting out than I do.
Are you seeing an increase in ear damage related strictly from sound, like high frequency?
I mean, it's always kind of been an issue. I mean, because amplified music, it began in the 70s and 60s, so it's been happening for a long time. But I think there's a whole new generation that's getting it more. Not going to show up in my office yet because they're not maybe appreciating a problem.
We're talking about the earbud people.
Yeah. But again, some of that early stuff is happening, and it's like there's an early warning system, which is your high frequency hearing, that nobody's paying attention to, and people just keep doing the bad things.
We need like Roger Daltrey to talk about this, right, or somebody along those lines.
A lot of these, these rockers that are in their 30s and up. Who's the guy with Coldplay? Chris Martin has made it very public that he's got tinnitus from his loud noise exposure, and now they're being much more protective of their ears. But a lot of these guys, it's an issue.
Well, it's interesting because you said you actually asked ladders that blew our ears apart.
Yeah.
If they were wearing earplugs, and they said they were.
Yeah.
And so, which I think is pretty impressive that a band has the
I bet
wherewithal.
they're not 100% of the time. I bet they're practicing and not using
Yeah.
it. I mean, those kids are destined for deafness.
Well, it's also the question of which side of the speakers are you on. You know,
Right.
if you're behind the speakers and the sound's going out that way, the band may be protected, but the audience is getting it. And again, it's how close are you to the speakers? And if you're right there, you know, this is really ear-killing.
So you talked about even your wife at night, right? Even she has a fan on because she wants to keep it cool or circulated or whatever. So even the fan.
And she might be watching. Let's not get him in the doghouse.
So the supposed data, like in terms of for good sleep at night, it's like you want a place that's really dark, a little bit cool, and really quiet. By quiet, I mean like less than 30 decibels.
Yeah,
that's really quiet.
Now, what do you go? What's she running? The fan?
Well, with the fan going is about 50 decibels.
Yeah.
So you wear earplugs at night?
I did last night.
Did it work?
Because I was paying attention. Yeah, I mean, I think it helped a little bit. But just the idea is that somehow your brain can't shut down as much if there's all this background sound. So the idea that, you know, people go to sleep with the TV on. People go to sleep with music under their pillow or their phone or something.
She's going to be like, I get it. We need a male model in a Speedo with a fan.
And a sedan chair.
That's not you.
And chair is like, that's who you pick.
Sure.
This program that you're doing, is this something that you're going to try to get other doctors involved?
Yeah, I mean, so our National Academy meeting's happening in late September in Nashville. And there have been some studies out of there. Somebody did a study. They went around to live music venues in Nashville and said, okay, what kind of volume are these places cranking out? And they were over like an hour period of time in the middle of one of their sets. And they're cranking 105, 110 decibels routinely. Again, it's a function of how close are you in terms of making those measurements as far as what that all means. But there's just a whole lot of loud stuff going on, so we're going to try to meet some people in Nashville. But again, the big one is probably still the individual person who chooses the setting on their phone to listen to their AirPod, their earbuds, and how loud they choose to make that. So one of the guidelines is if you could have your music going and carry on a conversation like we are right now, that's going to be okay. If somebody has to yell at you, or if you can hear somebody's music as well as they can, that's probably pretty loud.
So the noise canceling iPod, the pod things, actually noise damaging is what they should be called.
Well,
right?
the idea of noise canceling is if you're in a noisy environment and you can cancel some of that sound, you don't have to turn it up as high to hear it over it. So that can be a good thing.
Okay.
But then it's a question of how high are you turning it.
Right.
So noise canceling can still be a good thing. Some of those, I think they're rated at maybe reducing about 30 decibels, so kind of equivalent to the earplugs. So that can be a good thing.
Every time I put them in my ear, I always think the first thing I think of
Yeah,
him.
for sure.
I got to turn it down.
Every time I think about my ears, I think about him. But is it hard to get them? It seems to me like, does the music industry want to shy away from this? Because it's almost like saying alcohol's bad for you. Almost like saying our loud music's bad for you. We have so I don't. Is that a hurdle for you?
Probably. I mean, again, they're going to respond to what the audience demands. So if the audience wants it loud, they're going to provide that. But the question is, are they providing it? Are they gone overboard? They're doing too much. Mm-hmm. People don't need it that loud. They can have a great concert experience, but you can bring it down where it's not going to be as injurious to people.
Mm-hmm. So you got the app, right? It's got the app that you're using on iPhone.
That's the volume.
That's the volume now, which is
NIOSH. So normally when we're talking,
what do you want to be? Where do you want? Where do you want to be at?
So again, for sustained sound over like an 8-hour period, they say for a workday like 85 decibels or less.
Should we all scream?
Oh, we can get higher. Yeah, we can get way up there.
Okay, ready?
You ready?
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 121.
Yeah, so that you're at a concert, people are screaming. You got that on top of the music.
Yeah,
so you can get some pretty loud volumes, and that can do a number.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, and then the other thing we're going to do.
So well above 95.
What's the app that you recommend so we can tell people?
So for iPhones, the best one I've found, it's called NIOSH, NIOSH SLM. It's a freebie put out by the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, and it's been shown to be accurate. I mean, the challenge with this stuff is it's not research-grade, high-end acoustic equipment. I mean, you have to calibrate it and that sort of thing. But to give you a ballpark idea of where, what kind of volumes am I exposing myself to, it's good, and it's free. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to do the high-frequency hearing test here again. If you remember that, we've done that in the past.
We did that before. We couldn't hear
everybody in the crowd. And then
I hate failing.
Huh?
I hate failing.
If this thing will behave itself.
My ears.
I'm not really thinking. I'm gonna part my hair. Part the afro.
Okay, so this is a freebie also. It's called hearing test and ear age test, also an iPhone app.
Ear age test?
Hearing test and ear age test. So part of it you can do, like put in your earbuds, AirPods,
Yeah.
and go to someplace really quiet, like if you're in a closet with a bunch of coats around.
Right.
And then it will do individual sound pitches across the normal frequencies they test with a hearing test of each ear individually.
Yeah.
The part we're going to do is there's a part where it goes into just really high frequencies and goes as high as normally when we're born you can hear up to like 20,000 cycles per second. A normal hearing test stops at 8,000 cycles per second. They don't go into those higher frequencies. But those high frequencies are often the early warning system about what you're doing to your ears. Damage may show up in those before it shows up in the lower frequencies.
When you were a kid.
Yeah. So we're going to go through that here in a little bit.
All right.
And so hopefully this is going to be
Oh,
loud
here we
enough.
go.
It's just a test, Neil.
Just a test.
Don't worry about it.
So I don't know if this is being picked up by your phone.
I can hear that.
Can everybody hear
good?
that? Yes, that's
No, I can't hear that.
That's 6,000.
You can't hear that?
No, I cannot hear it.
7,000.
What? That's loud. You
Oh,
don't
here
hear
now I
that?
hear. I go, well, you're talking. How can I tell?
That's so bad.
How can I hear it when you're
Yeah,
yakking?
That's an F.
So that's 8,000.
Got it.
So that's as high as the normal hearing test goes. We're going to keep going though. It's not going to come back if you don't hear it.
You can't.
yet.
If, closer's not going to help.
Okay, that's 9,000.
Can I fire him
I
anytime?
got this. You don't hear that?
Is this showing up on the screen?
What?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
10,000?
Yeah, 10,000.
I can totally hear that.
Okay.
Bring it closer.
11,000.
Barely.
No, I don't hear it. Okay.
Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to 12,000.
Ooh, that's a dog whistle right there. I barely
Okay.
hear that.
We're going to keep going.
I can't hear that.
13,000.
Oh, I got that. That's louder than 12,000.
14,000. Anybody hearing it?
No.
Nope.
No chance.
Somebody out there in Podland may, but we'll stop at that. But anyway, this thing goes up to 20,000 cycles per second.
Are there people who can hear 20,000?
So if you have a room with the people of a variety of ages, the kids will be able to hear up pretty high. So I did this at one of the local high schools, and we were hearing, some of the kids were hearing great up to 18,000. And the people that were dropping out earlier, one of the kids was a drummer in a rock band. And other people really admitted they were doing a lot of loud stuff, probably damaging their.
Are you concerned about Neil not hearing any of that?
Well,
Is that
well, again,
concerning?
I can't remember what his hearing tests have shown in the past, but yeah, I mean, again, the higher pitches drop off sooner. He seems like he's responding appropriately and hearing what we say. So
Yeah, he can hear us.
I think he's got functional hearing.
You're talking the whole through the
Oh
whole thing.
wait, it was louder than me talking. That was
No, it
loud.
was not.
You're just not hearing that.
Anyway, so that just kind of, just reflects those high frequencies, which may be an early warning system that you've had some loud sound exposure that could be taking a toll on your hearing. And just, take it seriously and with your
Is
next.
14,000 okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
What do you mean?
I mean, they actually,
You're going down.
they actually,
No. Wait till we check your ears later
Oh,
on.
that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, about Lee's ear. We'll see about Leo.
but they actually have like normative data. There was a study they had in the early 60s. They found this tribe in the southern Sudan. And these people didn't have metal, didn't have electricity, didn't have gunpowder. So the loudest thing they heard during their lifetime was two sticks banging together, people yelling. They had people in their 70s that had hearing that wasn't too off from people in their 20s. So there's so many things that take a toll on our ears that we aren't really aware of. Blow dryers, the cars going by, driving in the car with the music on, the concerts, all this stuff.
Race car
It adds up over
drivers.
race car driving.
Well, I mean, no, because when I race the car, it's in the pits when I'm not
Sure.
racing the car because I have a helmet on and I have earphones.
Yeah, so you're protecting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't hear anything.
That's when on the stands. It gets
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But again, it's just an awareness of this kind of thing. Like, okay, if I think I'm going to be in a really loud place, maybe take some of these things along in your pocket. Be ready to stick them in to protect yourself because, like
So
I said, once it's gone, we can't bring it back.
So the message you hear is to turn everything down, right? Pretty much resist the blast, turn everything down.
If you can,
To
put
protect,
it, protect your ears.
We protect everything else. We wear sunscreen. We protect ourselves, but we don't protect our ears.
We don't think about that in terms of being an issue
Right.
because
I
it's
mean,
not,
you complained today about being the sunlight, right? The sunlight being how it was so damaging. It was so bright being out there surfing today.
Yeah.
Really, how we
yeah,
burns your eyes.
you get a sense of that right away. There's an immediate feedback loop.
Right,
Whereas the ears, it's not. It's kind of a silent
right.
epidemic in a way because these things happen and people aren't really aware of what's going on.
Well, you wonder about those guys who drive by. We've all been at a stoplight and heard
Sure.
that car next to us.
Yeah, right.
Like the damage
Yeah.
that person is doing to their ears in that car.
Yeah, their choice. And again, like I said, we've all got a certain amount of reserve, so we can go have some really loud noise exposure and it seem like we come out of it okay until you don't. and that's where you can kind of fall off a cliff. Like you're okay, you're okay, you're okay, you're not okay, and that's where we can't pull you back from the abyss.
So these are cheap. These are inexpensive.
You can
right?
buy them. You can buy them in bulk for
For-
less than 11 cents a pair.
At Rite Aid and
Cheap.
stuff, they sell them in a jar.
Yeah.
My wife
Where?
loves these.
Where?
At Rite Aid.
Oh,
Any,
yeah?
yeah,
the
you can
pharmacies have
buy
them.
a jar of them.
Yeah.
They're great for sleeping in a noisy place
Sure.
too.
I mean, it's a relatively simple thing, inexpensive. People could have these available,
Yeah.
and try to preemptively try to head off the problems.
So is this what am I going to call it? What's I call it? Pandemic of the ears. Right? Is this accelerating?
I think it
over
probably
the
is.
last
I think
10
it probably
years?
is. You know, when we think about like personal music devices, it goes back to the Walkman. That was like the first one.
Yeah.
And they were doing studies back then that showed if you take somebody, let them listen to their Walkman for an hour, do a hearing test before, do a hearing test after, you can show
Right.
some temporary changes that in 24 hours the ears kind of get back to normal. But if it was loud enough, and I think what's happened over time is I think the devices have gotten louder. And my understanding is that the top volumes in Europe are less than the top volumes in the U.S. So we can blast ourselves here in a way they don't in Europe. And there's a price to be paid for that.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think Apple would ever say, hey, you know, on the box, say this is dangerous if your decibels go above X amount?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't
I think
know.
it's still cool to brag that you have the loudest stuff. You know, it's,
Yeah.
I don't think society or medical has made it to where that's bad to not brag about
Yeah.
the level of your
And
sound.
there's like an excitement. I mean, there's things that happen in your body in response to loud sound. I mean, you think about like
Remember-
a crowded,
Remember we
sporting
shot
event.
guns that time? How did we
Yeah.
have earplugs?
We wore earplugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Is like there's activities that are so well versed
Yeah.
in ear protection, and then there's activities that aren't. And live music and the venues seem to be
Yeah.
the biggest need of because you have 5,000-10,000 people in an arena getting their ears blasted.
So if there's a way to figure out, can we bring this down to some compromise where it's loud enough to have a great concert experience, but lessen the risk to people's ears.
right.
So that's what
You
really has
got
to
to
be
have
done.
that. You got to have a pair of earplugs. You got to have the app. You got to walk
That'd be
into,
useful,
you
let
gotta
you
walk
kinda
into the
monitor
concert
things.
with that app, with the app, and
You're trying to protect yourself.
Right.
Sure.
Is there currently a threshold that's too much, an industry threshold of music, or
So both these OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and the NIOSH, National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, they both have standards about volume and duration. So the NIOSH, they would say for an 8-hour exposure, which most concerts aren't going to be unless you're some kind of festival, 8 hours, 85 decibels.
and that
Should
maybe
be
be a
below that.
factory worker or somebody?
Sure.
Same thing, right?
And then every 3 decibel increase, which is actually a doubling of energy because it's a logarithmic scale, they're going to cut the exposure time in half. 88, 4 hours. 91, 2 hours. 94, 1 hour.
way lower
Yeah.
than what you're asking for.
Yeah.
Are you the solo guy doing captaining the ship here? Or,
Well, I've kind of gotten this thing started. I
or
mean,
you
this was
got-
kind of my idea.
Are there other doctors or other people around the country or the world that are
We
going?
have Nashville.
I'm trying to get these other organizations
Plus he
on
goes
board
to, yeah,
with
all
this.
these conventions he have like Hawaii. Nashville. He's not going to Detroit, Michigan, right? He's not
They
going
probably
to,
have issues
he's
there
not going to
too.
Milwaukee.
Bakersfield.
Motown.
I got a
Oh, I'm going
convention
to
in
Hawaii.
Bakersfield.
Oh, where else you going?
Skipping that one.
I'm going to Nashville. I'm going to go to all the clubs. I got to go to all the clubs. Check out the sound.
Got to go to Kauai.
New Orleans. We haven't done New Orleans.
Oh,
yet.
shit.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, and then there's DC and New York.
Yeah.
But you're doing this right currently. You're a one-man
Just
band.
this is kind of starting in Santa Cruz. We're going to see where how far we
Okay.
can go with this thing. Can we accomplish some traction? Can we get our local venues, our local people?
Okay,
up to
we'll
speed on
we'll
this?
make sure we'll put it up on the show every month. We'll put something on the show every month to keep the people.
Well,
some
I
people
think you
feel-
should put us on your list of endorsees
Sure.
that we endorse the program and we're behind it.
Doesn't have the list.
Well, we could be number one.
You always have been number one on my list.
We're number one, Neil. Somewhere. It's awesome. But
But
dude,
yeah.
you need people. You need Roger Daltrey and those kind of
Sure.
people. And
Yeah, Keith Richards, like that, right? Something.
But it's sort of like, when you talk about changing human behavior. Driving down 41st Avenue today, I had the radio on and they were talking about Malaysia.
Did they
trying
hit
to-
anybody?
Nobody hit me this time.
Okay.
Last time they did. The guy just came right across 2 lanes of traffic. So,
Doc shows up with a wrecked car to the show. You were sad.
it was low speed. It wasn't a problem. But Malaysia, they're like trying to stamp out smoking. So they're going to say you can't sell cigarettes to anybody who's born after 2007, or they get penalized, and whoever sold it to them gets a big fine, maybe jail time. We're not going to go that. That's not going to work in this country.
Right.
But how do you motivate people that let's just try to help save something you've got? And it's that whole aspect of the feedback loop. You don't have a sense immediately like, oh, I'm doing something bad here. I need to stop doing this.
Right.
So education, make
So
earplugs available, dial the volume down, all that stuff.
Are you directing this at the youth, right? Because I'm at my age. I'm on the back nine. I don't right.
First off, you put on like 4 live shows a week, and you stand right next to the speaker. You're the last one. He's a prime candidate for this.
I don't stand
need-
next to the speaker.
You do too.
We need to get him some special ear muffs. To really protect his ears.
You're a
Make it
prime-
more obvious.
I got my new.
You're
Snow
the poster
White,
child
my
of these
Snow
damn
White-
things.
Snow White earmuffs.
Do you wear these ever at shows?
No,
Okay.
I'm going to stop doing that.
You literally are the poster child for this program.
So it's true. Anybody at any age.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
there are people who have stopped going to live music events because it hurts the ears too much.
Right.
And there's this phenomenon, if you start losing some hearing, the ears may become sort of hypersensitive.
Right.
So like the comfort zone decreases. You have to be louder before you can hear it, and it rapidly becomes uncomfortable and unpleasant. So it's sort of like there's just so many bad things around this topic that I think we need to kind of turn it around from a public health standpoint.
Yeah.
I have so many friends who are losing their hearing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I really do, and it is absolutely crazy to see that because we're getting old.
I'm not going to hear shit.
Yeah, and we damage our ears.
Yeah.
It's almost like it reminds me of wear sunscreen, you know, because kids are like, screw sunscreen. The next thing you know, they're me getting shit burned off left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is sort of the same program, but it's so important because there's no treatment for hearing loss.
Right. We can't cut off that thing that's
Gone.
damaging the ear. We can't plug in some new cells. We can't do that.
Nothing.
There's a treatment for a basal carcinoma, but not for hearing
Do you know how to
loss.
spell that?
No, did I say it right?
I don't know.
My skin doc's like, hey, bro, we got to rope you in. And
But I mean, that is a good analogy because they say what you do to your skin in your teens and 20s may reflect what your skin's going to be like in your 40s and 50s, etc. Same sort of thing with your hearing. What you do to your ears in your teens and 20s may reflect what your hearing is going to be like later on. And for a young person, that's eons away. They're not thinking about that.
Yeah, right.
But you just kind of recognize.
So everybody, resist the blasts. Keep the volume down below 95 decibels, and
At least, or less.
at least. And the app on your iPhone is called
So the sound volume thing is the NIOSH.
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 Okay, NIOSH.
And we got up
It's
to
a free app.
121, but we're all close.
That.
That was a little pulse sound.
Right,
If that was
right.
sustained over time, that would not be good.
Terrible.
A little pulse, not as big a deal.
So that was the first segment of the show. The second segment of the show is going to be our ear check. The comedic side of the show will be.
Well, and let's not forget.
And with our esteemed guest, esteemed surfer over here.
We're going to look in Lee's ears. And I know. I can't wait. It's going to be so interesting. Because how long ago were your ears? You saw Dr. Hetzler 10 years. So that's amazing. How many years did you do your ears ago? 5 years now? 8 years?
Ago, yeah.
Okay. And I've never had my ears done.
I was reading your lips and doing the show.
You couldn't. I know you couldn't hear.
No,
That was terrible.
Nothing.
For those of you who don't know, Dr. Hetzler is the #1 ear doctor on the planet for surfer's ear surgery. He actually invented the tools that for the proper way to treat surfer's ear and trains people around the world. So not only is he trying to save our ears by wearing earplugs, but he also knows how to fix them.
And the person that needs the surgery the most is standing right in front of me right here.
We'll see.
And
We'll see if Lee beats me. He might have to. We're gonna find out. I know because my ears don't get better.
okay, the doctor
Yeah.
says resist the blast. You've been resisting the surgery.
Well, here's
you
my
will?
problem.
You can't.
I hated earplugs because I couldn't hear in the ocean. It drove me nuts, and I'm paying for it.
You're going to go first? Okay, we're going to do
No, we want Lee to go first. We're gonna find out if 10 years later. Have you had your ears checked in 10 years?
No.
So this is the first time we've stuck a camera in there in 10 years since you've had surfer's ear surgery. For those who Lee, come on in the camera.
So how do you want to be able to see the screen?
Okay, we'll bring
zoom
it
right
in.
in.
But
We're gonna
he's
zoom
he's
right
gonna be
in.
able to see too.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be able to see.
Yeah, Lee, get in here.
Okay.
Oh, this is so
So
good.
just stand like right here. We'll get like, hey, come on.
That's this one.
Well, look at them both. Look at them both. Okay. So on this side.
Oh, my.
Have you using clips?
Yes.
Oh man, there it is! It's back.
There's some regrowth in there for sure.
Oh, you're screwed, Lee.
Okay.
Oh, that.
Let's see
How's
the
it
other
looking,
side.
Doc?
Let's switch
Even
sides
I
again.
know you're completely hosed.
Now let's see. Let's
Do you still have insurance?
over this way. Right in there is pretty good.
Oh.
It's so
I
bad.
hate to be the bearer of bad news. Oh my God! Zoom in on that, Neil. Hey, Doc, that's textbook right there, right?
That's Santa Cruz.
Look at those nodes.
Look, there's nothing
They're
there.
touching. Look at you got a little drain hole though, right?
Yeah.
What are you, the doctor? Get out back.
Channel to the eardrum.
Hey, I haven't looked
You've
at
had
these
some,
things.
you've had some pretty good growth.
Okay, so
there.
doctor,
You're worse than
Doc-
me.
doctor, can you give us the
That's
state?
the first time you looked.
Can
gonna cry.
we ask the doctor what's the state of your ears? Can we have permission from you?
Those are pretty narrowed. Yeah,
Narrowed,
It
yeah.
always comes down to is water getting trapped? Is it causing problems? Some people can have a lot of narrowing and kind of manage it. Keep the plug, use the plug to keep the water out. Alcohol if you need to help the water get out of there. If it gets stuck in there and you just can't get it out, then we may be talking about more surgery to get that bone out of there.
Last month or so.
What alcohol? We just pour alcohol in there?
So there's a commercial product called Swimmer, which is basically rubbing alcohol with glycerin, or some people use rubbing alcohol,
Right.
which can help water evaporate out of narrow spaces.
Okay.
Not to be used if there's a hole in the eardrum or if there's scratches in the skin, can be real uncomfortable.
Okay.
So it's real obvious.
All right.
But that can help water evaporate, and that can help some people get through.
You're next.
Are you
Lisa,
sad?
you're next.
I don't surf.
I know, but you need your checked.
That's what it was.
We need a female. We need girls'
I
ears.
think you're next.
No, TC's next.
I'll step in.
Okay.
But I feel good because I'm not as bad as that guy. Oh, look at but
Oh my God! Looks like the Amazon forest.
that's my afro.
So you have a little wax buildup.
Oh,
there.
see?
Get the Volkswagen
Why
out
do
of there.
I make so much wax?
He just likes to plug up that area.
I don't get it. But behind that is
Yeah, it's hard to see the bones because there's so much wax in
not
there.
too. Oh, well,
Hey
that's a
Doc,
bone.
do you think can we get some of his wax out of his ear now, or do you have to take him to your
That'd
office?
be better than the opposite with the microscope.
Is it common to grow ear hair as fast as I do?
Some people are exceptional.
I don't. I just
You
have.
wanted the exception. You're the king.
I don't get it. Oh, that's nasty. Oh, look at
You know
that.
what?
Ooh, that's not good.
So there we can see a few knobs down inside.
You need a lawnmower, TC.
Look, what's in the back? What's this crystallized stuff?
So that could be a little layer of dead skin down by the eardrum. But that's just about the level of the
You're
eardrum.
screwed, bro.
I'm so hosed. God.
And then there's Neil.
Okay, get
My
the
ears.
You do.
Well, I think the hair. I keep it. I think it saves me a little
He's
bit.
gonna be.
Maybe it keeps the water out.
Well, I'm just hoping I win the lottery and get the last surgery. I want to enter the raffle.
And then just you give a screen.
Okay. TC, get the camera.
Okay.
Oh, look at me.
Get
Okay.
the
Well,
camera.
actually, I remember you looked pretty good last time.
Look at that. Look.
Oh no, it's coming back.
No. That's looked like the.
No way, dude. Wait, you kidding me?
What
That
do you
is
know,
bone
dude?
growth.
No.
So
Yeah.
there's some in the front and the back, but you got a nice channel at the bottom.
Nice
So that's
channel.
That's what's going to save you.
Hmm.
You've got a good space for the water to come
See
out.
that? Look at that.
But yeah, definitely have some regrowth. Let's see how the other one looks. Let me switch with you.
That's not what you want to hear. Is regrowth. Is that cool if we talk about your medical records? By the way, this is confidential information. We're sharing.
Hey, but take a look. Oh my lord! You can get.
Oh, that's not
You can
good.
drive a bus through there.
No way. That channel's way
You can
smaller.
drive a bus through there.
Professional opinion, Doc. Is that a smaller channel?
Small channel down there, and they're touching in the middle. But again, what it all comes down to is how is it working for you? Does it work to your satisfaction?
What?
Well, we know about that. We can't fix that.
You're up.
Anybody else?
Yeah, come on.
Okay, sure. I can be the example of a normal
Hopefully
ear.
normal, very normal.
Let's look at a good video.
Yeah, hopefully.
Do you mind if we photograph this for the show? We don't
Well,
care.
I'm not a surfer, so I don't really qualify.
Oh my gosh! You
Look
got
at
a
that.
tank through
Nice and clean.
Jeez.
Cavernous.
What the heck? That looks like something out of Utah.
Cavernous.
That's like where the
Look at
the
that.
river comes flowing down that thing.
Here
The
forever.
sandstone.
That's amazing. I'm jealous.
No surfing, though, so there's the sad part.
Look at that.
Nice and open.
Look
Look
at
at
that.
that.
Wow. Is that the
When I go to
eardrum in the
loud
back?
Concerts, I'm good. I've got lots of reserves.
Lots of room to get that earplug in there.
Jeez.
It looks like the Lincoln
Is
Cable.
that an A plus, Doc?
That's good. Very
Yeah?
good. You could be an ear model.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Congratulations. Golf clap to that.
Yes, every time.
Wow. That's amazing. How you feeling over there?
Not good.
Yeah, that's not.
Lee, how do you feel, Lee?
Lee, come on.
Leave.
So,
Okay, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
question
Hang on a
for
minute.
Lee. You were
Hang on.
saying that your ears recently are getting worse.
Hang on.
They're
Doctor.
trapping water.
Doctor, would you please point out between the three of us which one, like 1, 2, 3, which one needs surgery first.
That's determined by you, not by me.
But
And
okay.
your valued expertise, just for as.
So again, my approach is not to tell people they should or shouldn't have surgery, because
Right.
this isn't cancer. We don't say you have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's causing a lifestyle problem, if you're getting a lot of water trapping infections, you're not happy with that, then I'm happy to help get the bone out of there and let the thing have more space.
Is he worse than I am?
Well, that's what I was saying. Who has in your professional opinion, who has the worst ears?
Yeah.
Lee?
One. You guys are
Come
kind
on,
of
Doc.
sort of
Give
on
it to me.
par. You guys are kind of on par there, I think.
Gotcha, bro.
Because everybody's are different. They're a regular
You
shape.
didn't finish what you said.
Trim the hair.
One,
One, two.
That keeps me
1, 2
warm.
together. We tied.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh.
But again, on this one, I can't tell when they get the wax out of it.
I know, yeah, that's true. I did that on purpose.
He got the
I scraped some surfboard wax off and stuck it in my ear. Just
I mean, I think when we cleaned it up before, it's like, oh yeah, you got some kind of okay space
Yeah,
there once you get the wax out of the way.
All right, that's good news.
All right.
Yeah.
So again,
Yeah. I got plugs. I think that the lesson for tonight is that we need to take care of our ears better because we're all screwed.
Yeah.
And
Now-
you shouldn't be screwed because you should wear plugs when you surf and when you go to
Especially
music.
Kids out there, if your kids listening, or parents out there listening, tell your kids to protect their ears.
Maybe turn it down a little bit with the
Yeah,
music
just
and the
the volume.
ears.
And there's actually a thing I want to show you on the phone. I don't know how much detail we can get in this thing. If you go into settings on an iPhone,
Yeah.
then there's a thing you scroll down called Sound and Haptics.
So what's it called?
Sound and Haptics. That's in the setting list. And there's a thing called Headphone Safety up at the top.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And then there's a slider where you can vary this thing
Yeah.
as far as how loud those headphones can be.
There's the key.
Yeah, so you can get into that and dial that thing down. And they have, ostensibly it says on the low end 75, on the high end 100. Those are not real numbers. That's not what that really represents. It's a relative scale. And the factory setting, what it comes from, if you don't even ever do anything with this, is set at 85. So it's a little bit to the lower side.
Okay.
That combined with the volume setting will determine how loud you get output into your earbuds.
Okay.
So if you're trying to really protect somebody, if you dial that down to 75
Right.
and leave it there, if you have that setting and turn the volume all the way up, you can get about 90 decibels out of an earbud. If you have it at this and turn this bar all the way to the right, 100, volume all the way up, you can get about 114 decibels.
Okay.
That's too loud. That's going to injure ears.
All right.
So the headphone safety under sound and haptics is one way to approach that.
Okay.
But again, just being aware of the volume. Can you carry on a conversation with somebody with whatever level of volume you're putting in your ears, as opposed to blasting them and causing hearing loss?
Okay. Doctor, thank you. We love you when you come on here. We love
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have social media yet set up for this?
No, I'm not that savvy.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's
No.
I'm seeing patients in the office. I leave that to you guys. I leave to the.
well, we're gonna get you hooked up with that because you've helped me. I'm gonna help you. We'll get you set up because that's a good place to share information.
Sure.
And an address for people to get
Sure.
information. So we'll get you set up with that.
Thank you, man.
Everybody,
Okay.
Dr. Hetzler, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah. What'd we call him? The Picasso? No, the Rembrandt. You had
like that.
yeah. He was like the Michelangelo of ears. Yes, the Michelangelo of ears. Dr. Hetzler, thanks for coming on
Thank
the
you.
show.
Always a pleasure.
We'll talk more about this, and as it grows, it'll be fun to catch up and see where this leads. Because Roger Daltrey should be behind it, and we're going to help you make that happen.
Yeah, if those guys are from the stage are willing to, let the venues know, let their patrons know, let's try to help save ears.
I like the idea of getting the guy who thought it was cool, and now he's like, no, that was a bad idea. Yeah. I think that's good. Neil, what do we got coming up on the shows?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Santa
Zach.
Cruz Supervisor, District 2. Zach.
Yeah.
Coming or going? Staying or leaving?
That's the news?
I don't know.
Breaking news, possibly
Got a lot of
tomorrow.
stuff going on. Talk about Zach Friend over there.
And what time is Zach Brand on the show tomorrow?
Same time tomorrow, 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until then.
Until then. And then I got, Friday night, speaking of concerts, Ridgely's Nick was playing.
Oh, Ribsy's playing.
Ridgely's playing at Midtown Block Party, and on Sunday
at Sea
at
Cliff.
Seascape.
Oh, Seascape, yeah.
Joint Chiefs coming back.
Wow.
Don and the
Oh,
boys.
Don Carruthers kills it. Oh, and then Saturday, Street Fair. and the boardroom skateboard contest.
Okay.
Come out and see someone break a bone. It's always amazing.
Right. What's the prize money?
$1,000.
And
Yeah.
3 bottles of booze.
And the great thing is we have a raffle. Great stuff. All goes to the animal shelter, and
Yeah.
the animal shelter is bringing dogs for adoption.
Sweet.
So come by and pet one of those little dogs.
And you got that loud rock punk band.
No, they canceled
Oh, they
because
did? You're lucky they
no.
canceled.
You want to know why?
Yeah.
The lead singer, he broke his ankle skateboarding yesterday. So yeah, so the band's out.
Thanks, Doctor.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody
Aloha.
next week on the Off the Lip Radio Show.